to the microphone one of my good buddies, and I'd argue one of the good guys in Congress, Thaddeus McCotter. Welcome.
Hey, Theron. Great to be back.
Hey, now you won. You are elected again. You're back on the scene with a gangster lean, correct?
Yep.
You got your sunroof open and your diamond in the back. Who did that song, you know?
Well, I don't know. I don't know so much a gangster lean as it threw my back out again.
That's the old William, what's his name, a Devon tune. Just absolutely outstanding tune.
Oh, I sound more like Igor and Young Frankenstein.
I figured you'd know that. But anyway, hey, listen, tell us quickly, everybody's dying to know, what's going to change now that we have a Republic in Congress?
Well, as you know, Theron, you still have the executive branch and half the legislative branch under Democratic control. All spending bills originating in the House is the good news. But it's going to be one day at a time, and it's going to be, I believe, a very uphill fight for the House Republicans. But as you know, having learned from our mistakes in the past and having the new blood that the voters have sent in to give us a majority and, again, entrust us with it, we're not going to back down from the challenge. And we're going to stand up for our principles, and we're going to put forward legislation that reflects the will of the people and has their consent.
Now, I think you hit on a very important point there, and that is you're one-third of the mix, and a very strong third of that is the veto at the top of the food chain there, so to speak, in the legislative process. But I'd argue the House is the top of the food chain. Are you guys going to be comfortable, and I'm hoping you are, being obstructionist, being the party of no, saying, hold it, it stops here, no matter what kind of propaganda onslaught comes at you? Are you guys comfortable doing that?
Well, I don't view it as being the party of no. If you look at it, we have the mandate from the electorate to reduce spending and to get the fiscal house in order. And so when you start to talk about what the public wants, we're saying yes to the public. It's whether or not the Democrats in the Oval Office or in the Senate decide to listen to the American people.
No, I get that. What I meant by that, I meant it in a very positive way. What I meant is no more taxes, no more spending, no more stimulus, no more czars. I mean, you guys also have the, and always did, but the wrong people were at the levers of control. You have the power of the subpoena. You can go and say, you know what, we want to take a look at this guy right here that's working against America in this university or in this government office. We want to look at this czar. I mean, you guys up for the challenge?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, again, the new blood that's been put into the caucus is not the same Republican caucus that it was in 2005, 2006, obviously. So what you have is people like Darrell Issa, who will chair the Government Oversight Committee.
I love that guy.
Yep, Darrell's a very good guy, veteran, very strong guy. And what he'll be looking at is to try to find ways to save taxpayer money, bring reform to the massive federal bureaucracy. There'll be no partisan attempts to score points. This will be really productive work, because that's just how Darrell is. So when you look at it, Theron, across the board, I know people are chomping at the bit. But we just want to make sure we're going to do our job every day, and it's get people prepared for a hard slog, because, again, as a Republican, as a Federalist, I respect and appreciate the checks and balances within the federal government that the founders put there. And this is going to be a case where you're going to have a check and balance. But that does not mean that we're going to compromise our principles.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I'm on the same team. But you, I don't know how you take it. I took this as a mandate. I think the American people, who said it? Boehner said that people did not fall in love with Republicans. They fell out of love with Democrats. I mean, we've been taken to the gates of hell by a lot of these socialist types. So we're hoping you will stay strong, and you're the ramparts, man.
Well, again, David, I think you're right. It was a victory for the people, not for a party.
Right.
And I think it's critical that we remember that. The last thing you want to do is forget not only your own mistakes, but the mistakes of the recent, now departed Democratic majority. They mistook a couple elections of dissatisfaction with the Republicans for not keeping with their principles to instead be some type of fundamental realignment where America became a left-wing country. And as we've seen over the last 4 years, that did not take long for the American people to reject that. My concern is if Republicans fail to hold their principles or fail to articulate why America has to have a fiscally responsible government, a moral government, a responsive, accountable, leaner, more efficient government for the age of globalization to remain the preeminent nation in the world, that we could find ourselves in a similar situation.
Well, you guys are more than qualified to do that, and I would urge you to take back there to the crew in Washington that you need to get more FaceTime on television. I mean, we have a president who's on TV every 15 minutes. You can't turn the TV on without seeing Barack Obama. And my point being is we've got to hit the people where they live, in the middle of Dancing with the Stars, in the middle of Monday Night Football. It would be really good to have some type of a Republican president saying, here's who we are, and here's what we're doing, and here's why it's a good thing for you.
Yeah, again, you're always supposed to listen. That's part of the job. So I think that one of the things I would encourage people in my caucus to do is listen and lead. You're supposed to be able to multitask. As you know, Tyrone, from the Tea Party's inception with the TARPs passage and other legislation that they found repugnant, they expect you to listen when they elect you. They also expect you to lead. So I don't think it's going to be enough for Republicans to walk around saying we're listening. You're going to have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Where are you going to fall in the mix? Do you have any idea? Are you going to be a serious? Are you going to get a big mallet? What's going to go on with your?
Don't worry about me. And I think one of the things that I've talked to you about before is to try to eliminate the policy committee, which Republicans tried to do in '94 after the Gingrich Revolution. It's still stuck around. I laid out how to get rid of it. We'll see if the incoming majority wants to do it. If they don't, well, that's their decision to make. But as for representing my district, that's where my focus is. As you know, in Michigan, we have an opportunity to reinvent government here in the state of Michigan, and that'll have to be make sure that we try to mirror that with positive, constructive change at the federal level, because we need jobs, we need economic opportunity. We have a lot of people hurting, so my focus is on me, and I'm going to do that job wherever I wind up.
Yeah, and right on, brother. I'll tell you, it is astounding to me that right now we have a Republican House, Senate, Governor, Secretary of State, Attorney General. As I said earlier, I think the girl at the donut shop down there is Republicans, used to be Democrat. Michigan is all the way red right now in many ways.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I think when we hear about California and some of the Western results that kind of disappointed conservatives is that Michigan should inspire people who believe in limited government and who are concerned about the economic prosperity of the United States now and in the future. We faced an economic Armageddon over the last several years. And so I think we understand better than some of these other states that you can't spend your way to prosperity, you can't simply borrow your way into prosperity, that you actually have to have entrepreneurs and workers being able to make a living, being able to produce, being able to enjoy the fruits of their labor, to attract capital, to attract talent, to attract investment. And I think that Michigan is ahead of that curve now. They have a very difficult job ahead of them. And I believe that they're up to that. And hopefully,
I think you'll agree with me, and please feel free to disagree with me. Government never creates a job. It's all based pretty much on tax policy and freedom of the individual to start a business, not be penalized punitively. But you guys, I keep telling people on the show, this is just the start. You guys that just got reelected, the brand new, let's say, freshman, conservative House of Representatives, it's just a start. You're still up against a wall, getting things through this president.
And as you've noted, you're also on a probationary period with the American public. Again, we've seen since McCain-Feingold passed and the age of the 24-hour/7 news station, you're going to continue to see that the public has so much access to information that if you fall out of step with what the public expects you to be doing, it's not going to take long until they elect a different majority.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this right now, what we're doing right here on Talk Radio, this is the last vestige of free speech. I would across the country, not just this station, but we're the guys keeping an eye on you.
Oh, and I think that's very healthy. That's what's supposed to happen. An active, informed citizenry is the backbone of a free constitutional republic.
Hey, real quick, what's it like when you first, in our remaining minute here, 2 minutes, okay, somebody, Brand, now you've been, is this your second time, third time around? How many times have you been in
I got elected to my 5th term.
Yeah, oh, man, so I guess you're not for term limits. We won't go there. But
how do they work in Michigan so far?
Well, I got to tell you, the people really would like to see maybe 2 to 3 terms, but I don't want to get into that now. We only have a couple minutes.
Well, we have them. How's that work so far in terms of the governance of the state of Michigan?
I think it worked beautifully. We got rid of a governor that might have been reelected.
Our governor would not have been reelected.
We had a flaming
in 2008. Tyrone, you know that.
I don't know that. I do not know that. Oh, no. Thaddeus.
Having been in Lansing when they got term limited, and having been in Washington where they're not, again, I don't think you need a mechanism that's going to tell people who they can and can't vote for. Look at this massive change that's occurred over the last 3 elections.
Let's talk about that over a beer. What I want to get to in the remaining minute here, 30 seconds now, what I want to know is when somebody comes in for the first time, what is the gargantuan, huge weight of pressure on them to play the game? You want to get reelected? Hey, you want to be on this committee? You want power? You better go along with it. I mean, are the people starting to move away from that in the House?
I don't know. It's individual. It's very subjective. That type of pressure is as powerful as you let it be. I mean, look, we live in America. Whenever I face things like that, I just tell people, this isn't Russia. You know, Soviet Russia. You can't take me out and shoot me and my family. So I don't care what you think. I work for the people in my district. Now, if you keep that attitude, you'll be all right.
To some point. That's another conversation over a beer, too, because I got to tell you, right now you work for the United States. We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Well,
close that border.
Isn't Michigan 11 part of the United States?
It is, but close that border. Stand up and scream, close that border.
It would be good for all of us.
All right, listen, Thaddeus, thank you so much, and good luck, man. We're in your camp. We support you.